we showed this film inside of San Quentin, sitting in the front row of the chapel with a room full of incarcerated people. That was, I mean, it couldn't get any realer than that. We knew by the time this film is over if we got it right or not.
Rashad and Lin Que, welcome to Underexposed. Good to have you
Uh,
guys.
Thanks for having us.
Ricky, it's getting a lot of attention. It's gotten a lot of attention already for premiering last year's Sundance. Those out there who don't know about Ricky, maybe one of you guys can briefly set us up.
Yeah, so Ricky follows an ex-offender who's trying to reacclimate after doing 15 years of incarceration. So trying to make that adjustment where the story is following him on in the process of making that adjustment from being, institutionalized for half of his life because he's 30 years old back and he's back out into the real world. So seeing him trying to navigate that.
So this was based on a short originally, I know,
Yeah,
and I'm curious. At one point, there are a lot of questions here. You two are both NYU grads, right? Film grads.
correct.
Yes.
Is that how you came together to work on this project? Tell us about the origins of this.
You know what? It was one of those things where I was a year ahead of Rashad. And we were in Casey Lemon's class. Shout out to NYU. That's like the spot for us, man. That's the home for us.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Casey Lemon's class. I was actually showing my spring narrative, which is a big project in our first year, toward the end of our first year. And Rashad came in. He was auditing the class. He was thinking about going to NYU, so they were auditing the
Well,
class.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I just remember like my first of all, it's already like you're already showing your film that maybe the class has about six people in it. And here comes Rashad and two other guys, and I'm like, great, it's my film that's playing. I already feel like crazy exposed. And and I just heard Rashad just had a moment of like he felt something. You know what I mean? And then we just kind of spoke afterwards, and then he got in the follow. He was already in the. He came in the next semester, right? Which was like
Yep. Yep.
fall of the following year,
Mm-hmm.
and we just kind of hit it off. Like, and I always say this is like he's just a good human, as opposed he's a great filmmaker, but he's a great human first. So we hit it off like
Likewise.
that. You know what I mean? We hit it off like just like human sensibility. We hit it off, and then was like, wow, we creatively kind of had similar plights in what we want to do. And I mean, I'm going to pass it to you, Rashad, to just jump on that.
For me personally, that was the first time in all just my years of going to school. This was the first time I was like, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be. It wasn't a question at that point. Because when you're an undergrad, you're trying to figure stuff out. And in high school, you're just trying to get through it. You know what I mean? But yeah, when in NYU, and especially me and Lin Que, like I was like, yeah, this, like, I had to go through all of that to get to this point, you know.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like the genesis of the Wonder Twins.
Well, I want to dig even further back. I want to know, Lin Que, you started in the music industry. You were in the hip hop
Wow.
world. I know that. And so you have a foundation there. And I want to know what you kind of took, what you parlayed over into film and how you ended up jumping over into film in the first place.
Wow. Well, Alex, I have to commend you on doing your homework. 'Cause I've like kind of like amputated part of that part of my life. And it's funny because I feel like film is actually bring it back into my life in a weird way. It's like I was kind of escaping the music industry
Mhm.
and just tired of being, especially a woman in front of the camera.
Mhm.
And it was something that felt so comforting to be behind a camera, and be able to kind of tell your story without being judged. Like when you watch a film, you're not thinking about, oh, did a woman do this film? It's a black person that did this film. It's a heavy person that did this film. It's like you're not really thinking about it. It's just a film. And I just kind of like really love the idea of being judged by my work as opposed to how I look or you know what I mean? And when I left the industry, I was just happy about being creative, and I opened up a marketing firm, a little advertising marketing kind of company, boutique. boutique company with my best friend Barbara Sharon, who was also in the music industry with me. But something was just missing. Like I was making money and everything, but something was just missing. And we were started doing like commercials, TV commercials. And I don't know, I just said, everything that I've learned thus far, I taught myself. Every penny that I made, it's because I taught myself. And I wanted to learn, I wanted to go, but I'm a bit of a nerd. I wanted to kind of go back to school and feel like that confidence and have that confidence. And I decided to go back. And I wanted to kind of with the hope of kind of turning this like verbal poetry into visual lyricism of
Hmm.
where you kind of don't have to say something, it's just all images and the least amount of words. So that's been my plight, but I've noticed that that's kind of pulled me in. I've now paid a lot of, I've always paid attention to the sound component to film, but I
Hmm.
never realized the music part as well. Like it all kind of fits in. So it's been a bit of a merging of the two as opposed to a substitution. That was a surprise for me, really.
Yeah, I love film for that reason. I mean, it just kind of combines almost everything into one art form. You know, you can delve into
100%.
almost every aspect of movement and music and sound and acting, obviously. Speaking of acting, Rashad, I know you initially thought about being an actor, but you gravitated toward the other side of the camera, much like Lin Que. I want to know about that process and just like
Oh man,
get more to that. Say, okay, answer
wow,
that.
wow, wow. Really, really did your homework.
Right.
That's the first time. That's the first time during the interview someone ever even like brought that up. Yeah, I wanted to be an actor for a very long time when I was in elementary school. I remember playing Paul Bunyan. I can't remember
Wow.
everything exactly, but played Paul Bunyan in this school play, and you know wanted to do theater when I first started going to college. I went for theater, so I would do like monologues and plays and stuff like that. And then I realized, it was a combination of, I was like, man, I really don't think I want to be in front of people or in front of the camera. Like, in my 20s, I was just trying to figure out, where my calling was in addition to being in the military. You know what I mean? So I was in the military and just trying to figure it out. I remember Indiana Jones was filming. They were looking for extras for an Indiana Jones period piece in New Haven, Connecticut back in '07. I was like, you know what? And I was just starting to grow my hair out. I was like, maybe I could get it. I don't know. I was being optimistic. So I went, obviously I didn't get it. But it sparked something.
Mm.
And I met my mentor in my undergrad who, was doing film. I was like, because I was like, I don't want to get back into acting, but I want to, still be around it. So I met my mentor, Jeff Teitler, and he was telling me about the process of doing film. And then I kind of switched over to the film department in my undergrad. And, here we are speaking. That process of wanting to be an actor gave me perspective on understanding the mindset of actors. You know what I mean? So like I understand, I always want to protect the actor, you
Yeah,
know. So yeah.
that's great. And here you are working with Stefan James, who's incredible in
Oh
this
man.
movie and a
Oh,
wonderful
fun is
cast.
phenomenal.
Tell me about just and a casting director. I mean, you have Avi Kaufman on
Oh,
this
A.V.
project.
Kaufman is the GOAT. A.V.'s the GOAT.
Incredible. Tell me about
Yeah.
putting that together. Tell me about working with this cast, putting them together, and all that.
Me and Lin Que we knew what we were going for. A.V. Kaufman, I've been following, her work, seen a lot of her films over the years. The irony is that a lot of the actors in the film are Caribbean or of Caribbean descent, which me and Lin Que are as well. And even where we filmed in Hartford, Connecticut. So it's literally the way it was casted is how it was supposed to be cast. It's hard for me to explain it, but it's literally because it felt like everybody on set were from there where we filmed. You know what I mean? Because Mrs. Ralph, you know, uh, Stefan, Andreen, Imani, Malik, even Titus Welliver, he's from Connecticut initially and then moved to New York, and all of them were great. You know what I mean?
Lin Que, maybe you can talk about writing about this topic, how you found your way into it, who you spoke with, to who you both spoke with,
Right.
both before and after writing the screenplay.
Well, one of the things that both Rashad and I have in common is that we like showcasing what looks like real life as opposed to some type of narrative. We want
Mm-hmm.
the audience to kind of feel like they are in the protagonist's shoes. So we made sure, and this was something that Rashad had talked about from the beginning, like this has to feel real. This has to feel like you know this person, or you're like a fly on the wall, kind of listening in on this person's life. So it was important that we had the facts right. We were blessed where we both went. We both got accepted to the Sundance's Screenwriters Lab for the film. So we had incredible advisors, and we did research when it came to everything, every aspect, not just ex offenders. We spoke to judges.
Hmm.
Sorry about that. We spoke to judges. We spoke to parole officers. We spoke to various types of ex offenders, some of which was to our amazement really coincided with the main character where they were tried as an adult at the age of 15, and
Yeah.
then also they came out as an adult where their emotional growth is stunted. They're pretty much, trying to adjust to society. So we were able to get various types of viewpoints. And to Rashad, I want you to piggyback on this because one of the great things about Rashad as well is that it wasn't just about he spoke to women. We spoke to women ex-offenders. It wasn't just about this one thing. We wanted to really get a roundabout perspective on this one situation. You know what I mean?
We did extensive research, you know, even sat in on arraignments, and just from knowing people that went through the criminal justice system, Ricky is a combination of people that we knew mashed together, you know. So, it was a lot of work, and even visually, I wanted to capture that, to make it feel as real as possible, even though it's a narrative.
Yeah, I mean, you can get so much praise from everybody else, but I know as a writer from personal experience, like the best praise you can get are from the people that you're depicting in the film, the people that live the real experience. I'm curious about whether there was something in particular that either of you could point to that is a detail that a lot of films that deal with this topic maybe don't get right, that some formerly incarcerated or currently incarcerated people brought to your attention and you feel like you've done something for them in that specific way.
The biggest test to that, I would say, is when me and Lin Que, along with Mrs. Ralph, went to San Quentin, and we showed this film inside of San Quentin, sitting in the front row of the chapel with a room full of incarcerated people. That was, I mean, it couldn't get any realer than that. We knew by the time this film is over if we got it right or not. We started learning early that we're getting it right because we're getting a lot of water and snacks while we were watching the film.
They kept coming with mad snacks. They
Yeah,
kept bringing Cheryl Ralph had like how many waters? She had
yeah,
like seven.
not yeah. It was like
It's not a love.
it was a love, it was honor, And I was like, man, like wow, like this is real. When we finished and we were speaking on the panel, just so many of them, there was like, wow, like this is literally my story. Like I exchanged emails with some of them to keep in touch for when they come out. They were telling me when they were coming out, and they really want to pursue filming and all that stuff. And you were just sharing their stories on, you know, the mishaps that they had, and and which got them to that point, and how they're just trying to come out and just do regular things like how we do, and that was just one aspect of their life that doesn't define them. It was an honor to not only there, but just like in numerous screenings where people would come up to us from all walks of life. This is not a film just for one demographic. This is for all walks of life, you know? So
it definitely is. And I think that's like something that I've written about. I've interviewed people recently. I did actually something with some veterans who hired me to write a screenplay, and I did extensive research.
That's another aspect of my life, the
Yeah.
military. Sure.
And I was very concerned with these kinds of questions, hours and hours of conversation about what is it that, films get wrong, about this, and what do they wish they could see. And nothing makes me happier than to hear their reaction when they read the script, that they're just like, they sign off on it, or they point out these little details. They help. Involving them in the process is just like an incredible benefit. And I'm sure you experienced something similar with this project.
Yeah, for sure. Like, even like with the short, it was the same process.
Yeah.
We did a lot of research in the short. It just evolved, and then we did even more research. So that's kind of like, we want to always make sure that we have it right. I mean, obviously we have, poetic license as artists to fabricate things, but we not really about that. We want it to feel as real as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And let the audience feel. That's what people pay to go to cinema, to feel something.
Right.